Years ago, I got a call from the bishop. I was sitting in a seminary class when it came in, and it said, "Jim, I need you to go to First Church Phoenix and fix Buzz." Just a seminary student. I said, "Okay, it doesn't take much to fix Buzz. He has lots of things to fix." I was so blessed to be with Buzz during that time. It was a very short time that we got to be together, but it changed my life. He was a mentor and a guide, and he helped me to see things differently than I ever had before. He helped me to become part of who I am today. And he has written a book called Running Deep with Strangers. And if you want to see the good side of Buzz's family, she's sitting over at a table. Oh, there she is, right back there. That's Lee. And she's going to be at a table back there with these books to be able, and you're going to want to get one because they're marvelous books. And you're going to want to do it just to say hi to Lee. But Buzz has done a marvelous job at saying what we say we believe in, that we see the light of Christ in each other. And he has done a good job at saying, why don't we do the hard work of actually sitting with each other and discovering that light and being intimate with each other in those moments. And so I am honored and proud to have you see Buzz Stevens, listen to Buzz Stevens, and greet him. Will you greet him with me?
I would talk to them. No, I'm going to use a manuscript, but I'll move around with it. I have to use a manuscript because if I don't, I go down little cul-de-sacs. If I come out, my wife will go, "Oh, he's gone into the cul-de-sac." But I'll try to work on it. But when Jim came before, why don't you talk to him when he comes out? And so I said, "Jim, I've been with you on this job, and you take on everything. The better you get, the more people put on it. And so you have, I think a little, you can probably have some ADHD." And then I said, and I got a little bit too. And the whole committee said, "A little bit." So he really, that's where he got his problems. But this is a special place for me. I lived here for a while, was a campus minister at U of A, and also pastor here. And then, I was here when they voted on the reconciling church. I was the superintendent, so I had to be there for that. It was 40 to 2, I think, about 3 years on Skid Row in LA. It was not an evangelistic effort. It was a denominational project to try and get to know people on the streets. I got to meet people on the streets, and they got to know me. I didn't grow up in a church. I came into it later. I thought everybody would be open with their feelings, whether it's anger, rage, fear, sexual urges. I really thought that. And then when I started going to church, I thought, I wonder when they're going to come at me. And nobody did. But in the streets, street people, transients, they could be totally transparent on every issue. Loss of love, rage, fear, sex, anything. And so I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll tell them mine. And it was really healthy for me. I was single, lonely, and for about 10 years I didn't have I had girlfriends, but nothing happened since a relationship. But those things really fed me. And now I'm thinking about Jesus when he encounters chief tax collector, Zacchaeus. And he comes up on it and he says to the tax guy, "Okay, Zacchaeus, hurry down from that tree. Hurry down." Why do you say hurry down? Are they going to go ahead and talk about care for the poor, about taxes, imperial IRS? I mean, I think Jesus may have just wanted to go in there and have this moment. Let's hurry. I'm tired. I need to talk. I need to be open. I need to deal with stuff. Come with me and do that. Why not? There are a lot of people. In the first century, we really went a little crazy in regard to marriages. And this was a community then when they were being persecuted by the Romans, and so They didn't deal with the strangers, infidels. They stayed in the house. In the 2nd century, they started going out helping people to some degree. But what happened to single people? We have sacred rights for marriage, implying that that's the best of premier intimacy. Why not have single people have a sacred time at the altar, share in their life? We don't quite do that. And I think the street ministry helped me figure that out, and so I was on it. That stuff in my book. So, and I think it's important. There's stuff on fear, on anger, all kinds of stuff. The whole family goes for the cats, so I still wasn't quite ready to open up, I guess, because when I was campus minister then, I decided to have the students, 25 students or so, they're mostly freshmen, to go up to Prescott for a day and run deep with people. I mentioned it, they said, what? I said, well, let's see if we can run deep with people. They thought I was crazy. I said, well, let's just go up there and see if we can pull this off. And so they risked it. They didn't know what was going on. So I just told them that we got there, and I said, now, we're going to spend 2 hours. I want you to find somebody that you can go just a little deep for, beyond chatter, beyond superficial talk. Just see if you can find somebody to do that. And after 3 hours, they started coming back. And some of them had some great moments, but they were all listening to deep stuff. They were not letting it out. And they were, so I affirmed it for them. But there was a young woman, very attractive, first freshman. She couldn't wait. I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it. I said, what'd you do? Well, she's very introverted. I walked around Prescott for a couple of hours. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to do this. I don't care who he is. I'm not going to do this. And so she kept going on and on. And then all of a sudden I stopped in front of a barber shop. And I looked in there, and there was this barber over barber. And there were 2 men waiting to get cut. So she said, I figured that if this was about 2.5 minutes. I'm a freshman, and we've just been here a couple months, and my parents paid for this tuition, and they were excited about me coming to the university. I didn't have to work, so it was so privileged, but I feel like what if I flunk out? What if I fail? That scares me. And then, I don't have a friend. I don't have a close friend like I had when I left my town, and that bothers me. So I stay awake at night thinking about this. And she said, I haven't even told my parents about this, anybody about it. And he said, well, listen to me. The barber says, I've been in this job for 37 years. And it's fantastic. We open up. We don't open up as much as women do when they are gone, but we open up and we tell jokes, and it's been a fantastic thing for me. I love the first day I did it, but I have to retire in 2 months. And I don't want to, but I got to do it. And I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to leave a community, and it scares me, because we ran some deep stuff. So you're talking about. And she said, did you tell anybody? I didn't even tell my wife. I haven't told anybody. Wow, she said. I think I'm going to get a A+ on this project. And he said, you better know, because you did it. If you don't get it, I'll make sure you do. And that caused me to say it's time to really open up and risk it. And so I have to read this one, of course, because I'll leave half of it out. It was a long flight. It was a long flight from where to where, but it was a 5-hour flight. Well, it was from the east end to the west end. And I sat down, and there was a young man next to me, and I learned he was a Jordanian. His name was Bashar, and he, in fact, I could never open him up. I was going to my wife, but I said he couldn't open up his ear. So I said, let's just trade. No, and all of a sudden we start talking about stuff, and he started opening up. And I was really excited, because I don't think I've ever entered into a Muslim's life, and I thought I could do this. And then finally, of course, he had to ask, what do you do for a living? Oh, geez, I'm gonna run into the geology thing again. I don't know. And so I said, I'm a minister. I thought I could lose it with that. People sometimes are radically conservative. And also, even, I don't know if you remember doing around for a while, but McGovern and Wallace were candidates for years. And as I walked by, he was mouthing them, and I was in tears. I was in tears. I never had anybody quite like that in my life. We can have those intimate moments. We have to have those intimate moments. You know why? Because we could be on the track of a holy war between Muslims and Christians. Because we have virtually a Christian army. And we're going into 5 or 6 states for Muslim. And one day we got to take that. And so there has to be a way to risk engaging with them. And do you know Kayla? The young woman who was killed in Syria by us. She was a member of the Methodist Church in Prescott, in the youth group. And she loved to go on projects out of the country. And her father said, don't go there. She went there. She risked entering into the lives of these people. I'm not suggesting that. In fact, it scares me, my kids. But that's the level that we might have to do. And the reason I say this, I've not mentioned this before to many people, I was working for a while in a seminary for some graduate work on setting up a program for ethics for lay people in different professions. And I was meeting in Texas with a team at a university, and this guy on the other side of the desk was in charge of a lot of foundations, and we needed his money. So he was there, and so he's got about a 10,000 member church. That's Texas, and so we argue, because I wanted to interface curriculum on this thing. And he said, no, it has to be Christian. I said, no, it doesn't. We got a battle.